The characters of Deadlock enter the ritual for many reasons. Some seek revenge, others to help old friends, and even achieve apotheosis. But the Columbia professor is on a whole other journey, a quest for flesh.
The Central Park Astral Gate. Investigating that changed my life forever.
Welcome. Today we're diving into the brilliant mind and tragic cosmic accident of Professor Dynamo, a man of science who became a living anomaly, and his relentless quest for literal flesh. To understand how a polite academic ended up as a floating, disembodied dying star, we have to travel back 50 years. Back to the event that shattered reality and reshaped the universe into the one we know today, the first Maelstrom. The Maelstrom wasn't just a storm. It was a cataclysmic eclipse that permanently tethered our world to supernatural outer planes through cosmic rifts known as Astral Gates. It dragged spirits back to the living realm like Vindicta. It opened doors to and from outer planes like Ixia, the home of Apollo. It even pulled myth into reality, dragging creatures like the Loch Ness Monster into our waters. In the chaos of the eclipse, one of those massive rifts tore open right in the middle of Central Park. Driven by an insatiable, inquisitive, and perhaps reckless mind, Professor Dynamo didn't run. He was the first on the scene, eager to investigate, knowing a majestic sight like this would be life-changing. He was just thinking about it in a metaphorical way, as opposed to having his physical body entirely atomized on a molecular level. When the dust settled, Dynamo's human form was gone. His spirit was forcefully anchored to a miniature fading star that ended up trapped inside a cold metal vessel.
People don't need to understand why this works, they just need to be excited that it works.
Professor Dynamo didn't let the minor hiccup of losing his physical body stop his research. Although he does so from afar, refusing to get close to one of those gates after the incident. He quickly became one of the world's leading authorities on the Astral Gates, even scheduling an interview with the New York Oracle to share his findings.
Read our exclusive interview with Professor Dynamo to hear his thoughts on Astral Gates, the eclipse, and what it's like to live life without a body.
His research was so influential that it directly inspired Seven to continue his own cosmic studies, for better or worse. Through Dynamo's and other researchers' work, we know that the Central Park rift wasn't an isolated incident. It was just one node in a massive supernatural global network. Currently, the lore confirms 7 distinct astral gates across the globe, with a rumored 8th. The one mentioned directly are New York, the Central Park rift that cost Dynamo his humanity, the Atlantic Ocean, a gate hidden deep within the Bermuda Triangle since at least the year 565. This rift leaked myth into our world, including Nessie, and more recently an apex predator so terrifying it forced Viscus to seek out the patrons to protect the deep. But that's a story for another time. Puerto Rico, a rift of such extreme geopolitical and supernatural value that it pushed the United States to officially incorporate the island as the 51st state. Europe, a dormant gate recently discovered that currently has international researchers on edge. And finally, the rumored Arctic Circle Gate, the potential 8th rift. A brilliant expedition team assembled by Kelvin set out into the ice to find it. But their ultimate fate is also a story for another time.
I thought my condition a curse, but I've learned how to use it to help people.
Outside of his cosmic research, the most shocking thing about Professor Dynamo is just how incredibly normal he tries to be. Even as a floating, disembodied dying star, he still holds his position at Columbia College, diligently grading papers and inspiring future minds. When the stress of his condition gets too heavy, he clears his mind in the quiet halls of the New York Public Library and spends his winters volunteering at a local soup kitchen. He is, by all accounts, a gentle, polite academic. But do not mistake his kindness for weakness. Long before he was a distinguished professor, Dynamo's youth as an undergraduate student involved a shocking number of brutal fistfights. The man fundamentally knows how to scrap. When fists aren't enough, he brings out a weapon of his own design, a custom, high-tech firearm he calls the Vonnegut. The name is a brilliant, deeply ironic homage to legendary author and staunch pacifist Kurt Vonnegut, a man who famously believed that virtuous scientists should refuse to construct weapons of mass destruction. The literary layers go even deeper. In Vonnegut's short story, Report on the Barnhouse Effect, a professor develops devastating telekinetic powers through a phenomenon called, coincidentally, dynamo-psychism. In this story, the professor uses this power to force nations to dismantle their conventional weaponry. This aligns perfectly with Dynamo's own ideology. He harbors a deep, vocal dislike for the occult industrial complex, the corrupt corporate arms manufacturers like Fairfax Industries. He despises violence, which leads to one of his most endearing quirks during the dangerous ritual. He will literally apologize to his opponents while he kills them.
I'm so sorry.
So, why is a pacifist professor who spends his winters at soup kitchens and hates the arms industry fighting in a deadly supernatural ritual? The answer isn't a desire for power or even a scientific cure. It's romance. Dynamo is doing all of this for his sweetheart, Marla. After getting his body back, his first priority is to, and I quote, give Marla a hug and not let go for about 3 months. He officially married her 19 years after the Central Park incident, although it seems she fell in love with him before he became a floating star in a metal suit. Dynamo is completely smitten. He mentions her in almost every conversation, even bragging about a key lime pie she baked for the team once they finish the ritual. And while he is a distinguished Columbia professor, Dynamo is more than willing to break the law if it makes Marla happy. Law interactions reveal he has bargained with the underground thieves Mo and Krill to acquire rare, heavily stolen books for her, and he even took her on a date to Paradox's highly illegal reality-bending Museum of Stolen Artifacts. He gave up his humanity to science. Now, he's risking his mechanical life for love.
That could have gone worse.
To wrap up this documentary on the professor, we have to take a look at a few pieces of bizarre trivia that paint a completely different picture of our favorite dying star. First off, if his voice sounds familiar, Valve veterans have definitely heard it before. Team Fortress 2 fans and the 3 remaining Dota 2 players out there will instantly recognize the smooth, intellectual delivery of John Patrick Lowry, the legendary voice actor behind TF2's Sniper and Dota's Pudge. Second, if you think a cosmic entity grading homework at Columbia is weird, it almost got a lot weirder. In early development concepts, Dynamo wasn't an academic at all. He was Ji-Young, a literal pizza delivery driver. Imagine that, floating up to your doorstep with a large pepperoni. His lore gets even stranger in the game files. Despite his open dislike for corporate weapon manufacturers, a scrapped voice line reveals that Dynamo and Maximilian Fairfax, the literal head of Fairfax Industries, apparently used to refer to themselves as a group called the Squid Boys? What does that mean? Your guess is as good as mine. The squid could easily be a nod to classic eldritch horror, think Cthulhu and other tentacle-heavy entities, hinting that Dynamo and Maximilian may have actively researched the occult together in their younger days, or maybe it was just a goofy college fraternity name. Either way, we also know he plays a prominent role in the leaked Deadlock visual novel, The Binding of the Oathkeeper. But we'll dive into those secrets once Valve officially releases it. There is so much more to discover about the professor. We know he dreams of visiting the outer plane of Ixia if he wins the ritual, though honestly stuffing his face with Marla's key lime pie is probably much higher on his to-do list. Thank you for watching this mini documentary. I'd love to know which Deadlock character should I cover next. Let me know in the comments below. Until next time.